On behalf of Betty and Ed Dennis, welcome to Pathways Church on this day when we celebrate Ed. I'm presuming that many of you here have your own relationship with Ed, be it husband or father, grandfather, uncle, family member, co-worker, teacher, friend, fellow military personnel of 2 different branches. I knew Ed as a man of God, a man who loved Jesus and tried to love others as best as he could. And so today reminds me of this passage from Lamentations. I remember my affliction and my wandering, the bitterness and the gall. I well remember them, and my soul is downcast within me. Yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. And I say to myself, the Lord is my portion, and therefore I will wait for him. The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. Men are not cast off by the Lord forever. Though he brings grief, he will show compassion. So great is God's unfailing love. For he does not willingly bring affliction or grief to the children of humanity. If you'll join me in a moment of prayer, and if prayer is not your thing, then we'd just invite you to observe the moment. This morning, I cry out to you, O God of creation, the God who ordered the universe in a way that was perfect. So why are we here? Why does this happen? Something in my soul remembers something from long ago. It's an itch I can't quite reach. There's a thought that I've forgotten, and it bugs me. And it's the remembrance that you created things to be perfectly in relationship with you. And yet we live in this fallen time, in this fallen world, and my body is full of decay. And so we have the wrongness of illness. We have the wrongness of passing. We have the wrongness of death. And it's not right. And it's hard. And it's not the way you wanted it. And my soul remembers that you have been trying for all of history to bring us back into relationship with you. And while that is of comfort to me in some ways, there is still yet this grief, this absence, this terribleness that we must now find a way to endure. And yet in that endurance, I see Betty surrounded by family, by friends, by loved ones. I hear stories from her and the others of Ed's life and what he did and how joyous he was and what he struggled with and what he triumphed over. And I know that those stories are made better for being in community, for that is a saving measure, God. In this fallenness, in this grief, we have each other. We have community. We have you who grieves with us. And so as we share our stories, as we share our memories, may we be stirred with the good things. May we forgive Ed for the hard things. May we be able to finally express I love you to those who could not before. May we be able to say farewell and see you soon. Father, we know that Ed loved you and followed you. And so we lean on your scriptures. We lean on each other. And would you bless the words of our memories today? And all the people of God said, amen. Today's service will be about an hour, and I won't take time with announcements. So if you are slated to be a speaker, we'll just ask you to follow the person in order. Okay. I'd like to introduce John the son.
This will be a reading from 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 13 through 18, the coming of the Lord. But we do not want you to be uninformed, brothers and sisters, about those who have died, so that you may not grieve as others do who have no hope. For since we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so, through Jesus, God will bring with him those who have died. For this we declare to you by the word of the Lord, that we who are alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will by no means precede those who have died. For the Lord himself, with a cry of command, with the archangel's call, and with the sound of God's trumpet, will descend from heaven. And the dead in Christ will rise first. Then we who are alive, who are left, will be caught up in the clouds together with them to meet the Lord in the air. And so we will be with the Lord forever. Therefore, encourage one another with these words. George Dennis was born in Glen Echo, Maryland, and he was born on April 11th, 1945. more affectionately known as Eddie. He lived a life of quiet service, of deep devotion, and unwavering love for his family, his community, and his country. He is survived by his beloved wife of 60 years, Betty Lois, and so many to name. Their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, along with extended family members who brought joy and meaning to his life. He was preceded in death by his parents and by his beloved son, David Wayne Dennis. Eddie proudly served in two services, in the United States Army and the United States Coast Guard. And he served in a third army, the Montgomery County Public School System, as a teacher for 30 some odd years. The majority of that time spent at Winston Churchill High School. He coached sports, he led school activities, too many to name, the ski club, tech crew for theater, help me out here. The human-powered submarine. And I apologize if I'm leaving any out. He was an assistant scoutmaster in Boy Scouts, as well as a merit badge counselor. He was known for his warm smile, his infectious laughter. Eddie touched countless lives, and we will deeply miss him. All those who knew him loved him and will miss him. Thank you. And I'm going to bring up my mother, Betty.
I want to thank you all for praying for us. Never be afraid to hold hands. Be kind. Always say, I love you. And see as many sunsets as you can. Thank you.
So I would just like to say thank you so much to all of you for your support, for being here, for your prayers and your love, not just today and with Eddie's passing, but throughout our lives. As most of you know, my father was a pretty amazing person. I have been told more times than I can count, you know, your parents are awesome. Or, you know, you hit the parenting jackpot. And it's true. They are amazing. Oddly enough, for a large portion of my life, we didn't call Eddie Dad because he wouldn't answer to it. Not because he didn't want to be a father or because he didn't love my brother and I, but because he was involved in so many activities, he couldn't hear when you called out Dad. When you called out dad, everybody else's dad turned around, and he just kept right on going. For us, for most of our lives, we called him D, or Mr. D, or Mr. Dennis, because that's what he would answer to. My brother David and I used to joke that he was the mayor. You know, whenever you would go out with him, he would always run into somebody. And they would call out from across the parking lot or across the mall or whatever. And as, you know, ungrateful, bratty teenagers, we were mortified. But you'd hear this, "Mr. Dennis?" And sure enough, it would be somebody that he taught, or somebody that he taught with, or some scout that he had sat on their Eagle Board of Review, or somebody that he'd been a ski instructor with at Whitetail, someone. And that was him. He just knew everybody. My parents had a love that was classic and timeless. I don't think Rodgers and Hammerstein could have beat it. They were married for 60 years. They met on a train on the way home during Easter break for college. There weren't enough seats at the time. And so my father, being the gentleman, stood up and gave her his seat. And that was the beginning. And from pretty much almost then on, it was Eddie and Betty everywhere they went. I'm reminded of a quote. Up or down, thin or flush, they never left each other's side. They were always together. And in later years, if you were meeting them, and she did it today, whether you were meeting them for the first time or the 50th time, all 80 pounds of my mom would smile and say, "We're huggers," and come right up to you and give you a hug, whether it was the first time she met you or not. And I used to joke and say that if I called my parents up right now and told them that my college roommate from 25 years ago was hosting a beat poetry night or an open mic night in Kalamazoo, they would come show up. They would be there to support them because of how much they knew I loved them. In later years, Eddie changed and grew into his greatest and most favorite role, Grandpa. My parents have a bumper sticker still, one of the many, that reads, "If we knew grandkids were going to be this much fun, we would have had them first." But they weren't just Grandma and Grandpa for our kids. They were Grandma and Grandpa for everybody's kids. Not because they wanted to replace your family. It was just an extra set of Grandma and Grandpa. An extra set of hands. An extra place to go for Thanksgiving if you didn't have some place to go. If you needed an SUV and needed to move something, they were there. My parents have helped people move that they'd barely known 10 minutes. That's just how they were, how they are. I'll share just one other story and then get out of the way, because I feel it really encapsulates the man my father was, and I hope it's something that will stick with all of you as you leave this place. It's the saying, Eddie would go. If you're not familiar with Eddie Aikau, the famous Hawaiian waterman, you should look him up. It's a pretty amazing story. But that phrase holds special meaning for me because my father, Eddie, would go. He would be the one to jump into action. Once on a camping trip, he was at a waterfront near the campsite, and a man was pulled ashore who had drowned. And my father didn't ask, didn't blink, he just jumped into action and started to perform CPR on this man. It didn't matter who the person was. It didn't matter the circumstances of how they came to be in need. It didn't matter the personal risk to his own self. Eddie would go. Our small corner of the world is a little less bright, a little less fun without him in it. But he'd want us to pass on what he taught all of us, what he modeled to us. To be kind to others, to show an interest, to take care of one another, to help make a difference, and to love deeply. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm not as eloquent as John, but here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, gather around. We're here to celebrate the life of George Edward Dennis. He was a man who redefined boundaries of kindness, acceptance, and grandparenting. Notice a theme. If you ever needed a hug, a warm smile, or a generous portion of your favorite dessert, unless you weren't quick enough, because he would get yours too, Eddie was your guy. He had this remarkable knack for meeting people where they were, regardless of how quirky or unique they happened to be. Eddie was a man who truly loved life and lived it to the fullest, always ready for an adventure, whether he was skiing down a mountain, hiking, fishing, enjoying the thrill of the hunt, guiding young minds in Boy Scouts, or coaching and teaching. He approached everything with passion. Above all, he cherished his friends and his family, both by blood and by choice, creating an ever-expanding circle of love. I met Eddie, Betty, and John 32 years ago. Sorry. Their oldest son, David, was stationed in Hawaii, and that's where I lived at the time. Picture this, a young Gen X punk rocker, colored hair, nose ring, the whole 9 yards. I was nervously waiting at the airport with David for his parents to arrive. I turned to him and said, "I need to tone it down. Quick, how can I change?" And he said, "Nah, you're good. They're gonna love you." And guess what? He was right. They welcomed me with open arms. And I'm pretty sure there were conversations, in private, like, what in the good gravy is that? But the moment we got married, I became their daughter. And that was that. No judgment, no rejection, just pure, unfiltered acceptance. Betty used to say, she'd tell Eddie, let them grow, let them evolve, they'll get there. And bless his heart, he did. He lived up to every minute of that. And every person that crossed his path was greeted with genuine kindness and curiosity. He wanted to know about you. Even if he didn't understand something, He faced it head on and believed that love and acceptance were worth any discomfort you might have in the situation. Friends who joined us on family vacations quickly became part of the extended Dennis clan. And Eddie made sure everyone felt like family. These vacations we took were legendary. They grew year after year. What started as a small family trip turned into a massive gathering, with friends bringing more friends, all eager to experience the love and warmth. And Eddie, being the ever-loving grandpa, embraced all of them, sometimes literally with a big old hug. It might lift you off your feet, but soon everyone was calling him Grandpa. It didn't matter if it was their first time meeting him or their 10th. Eddie made sure they felt like they belonged. Eddie's legacy is one of boundless love, infectious laughter. Though we will miss him dearly, we celebrate the incredible impact he had on our lives. Rest easy. Your spirit of kindness and acceptance will continue to inspire us all. Your infectious giggle and your mischievous smile will truly be missed.
To say that Ed Dennis made an impact on a few lives would be an understatement. Mr. Dennis made an impact not only on the lives of the students who came through his classroom, but also to those youth and adults who were fortunate enough to call him friend or scoutmaster or D or granddad or uncle. I met Mr. D as a student back in Churchill in 1994 and spent 4 years building human-powered submarines. Who does that as a tech ed teacher? That we took and raced all around the country with MIT and other universities. And there was Churchill with no problems, I think was the name of the sub. We built hovercrafts that we took to Ohio. The hovercraft sank, but we still took it to Ohio and built it in his classroom. Cardboard boats and hours upon hours of set building. Dee would teach you how to take some 2x4s and some plywood and build some amazing projects. We learned from Dee that there were no mistakes, just things you needed a little wood glue to fix. We'd say, Dee, there's this half-inch gap in what we just made, and he'd look through the crack and say, just add some sawdust to the wood glue. My senior year, I had 2 classes with Mr. D as a TA, and he gave me lots of freedoms during those 2 periods. I'm not quite sure what I did, but I know I learned more in those 2 periods of high school than I did the rest of my classes going through my senior year. My wife, Dawn, who's here with me today, and our daughter, Eden, Dawn and I both knew Mr. D because of all of the things he did at Churchill. As John said, he did everything. He was the staff sponsor of the tech team and the submarine team and an assistant coach on the football team. If there was some club, Mr. D was somehow affiliated with it. So many students got to ski for the first time, going with Mr. Dennis, whether it was out west or here locally. We had a few other instructors sometimes that would help us with sets, and sometimes it was like you were given a can of pre-made soup. And I remember telling this story at a thespian event back in high school. Dr. Bogard was there. He's here with us today also celebrating D. And I gave the example of a can of pre-made soup that some of the instructors would just give you the soup and say, go ahead and heat that up. We've got a show soon. Mr. Dennis would give you a bunch of carrots and celery and a pot and say, go build a set. And we learned more from that method of teaching, and more students learned how to build things and became engineers or changed their career paths because of the way that Dee taught. A few weeks ago, Dawn and I went to go visit Dee, with Mrs. D as well. His memory was faint, but still there. As we were leaving, Dee asked if my wife and I were an item. And we held up our wedding rings, and Dee looked up from his bed and said, "Ta-da!" And it was the best ta-da I'd ever heard in my life. Dee is no doubt spreading his infectious smile up there in the kingdom of heaven. Down here on earth, Dee taught us that nothing couldn't be built or restored with the help of a little wood glue. He's now in a place where all those things are restored and made anew, with far more than just wood glue. His Alzheimer's is no more. His memory has been made perfect once again. No more suffering, no more tears. Reading from the book of Revelation, it says, "And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Behold the dwelling place. God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people. And God himself will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain anymore, for the former things have passed away.' And he who is seated on the throne said, 'Behold, I am making all things new.'" To Dee, who taught us that we could make all things new with some Elmer's wood glue, I give you thanks, Dee. And we pray that God's Spirit can do only what God's Spirit does and comfort those today who are mourning his loss, knowing that he is in a much greater place. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Ann Garvey, and I am one of that extended family of Eddies. We're known as the Hive, and we are surrounding Betty and the Dennis family today with our love. I've had the distinct privilege of knowing Eddie and Betty for close to and maybe more than 20 years, which feels like my whole life. And you've heard this before, and you're going to hear it again from me, but there are some families that you're born into, and there are some families that are chosen. And I was lucky enough to be chosen by Eddie and Betty. In my family, and throughout our extended Hive family, they are very affectionately known as Grandma and Grandpa. And so I'm going to talk about Eddie, but Betty, this is all you too, because where there was Eddie, there was Betty. Grandpa's generous spirit and sense of adventure led to so many new and memorable and cherished memories and experiences for my family and me. They took my children camping to Disneyland. They taught my children scuba diving and took them to get certified in the Keys. Things that I or my parents could never have had the knowledge or the know-how to do. And we had countless Sunday night dinners. And you heard from Dee, they even invited us to join their tiny little family vacation at this amazing place called First Landing State Park. And for more than 15 years, we got to hike, swim, fish, surf, and watch sunsets. Each year, there's a special memory. Was it age 69, age 70? Grandpa surfed with the kids. I think even managed to get up on the board. And the smile that lit up his face that day was amazing. I think my favorite trip was actually 2020. The year of COVID, when it was just me in cabin 15 and Grandma and Grandpa in cabin 16. And we went for walks every day, we had dinner together, we watched sunsets together, and it was just so wonderful to have time, just the three of us. And then Dee and Ryan and Corbin and Wendy came, and it was really great to have time with all of us. I lost my own father earlier this year, and I believe that those we love never leave us. They live in our hearts, and they live in our memories. And so what lives in my heart, in my memory about Grandpa, is that smile when he was happy to see me, the smile when he was about to get mischievous, usually followed by, "Don't tell Grandma." I will remember all of the sunsets, all of the dinners, getting ice cream, his infectious laugh, and his love for Betty and for all of us. And I promise to the Dennis family that I will surround you with my love in the same way, well, in a way that will honor Grandpa's memory. I love you all, and I'm glad you're here.
We have a little time, so I'm going to invite anyone who has a story that they might want to share. It's about 2 minutes or so of sharing time, and there can be about 2 or 3 of us. And so if you want to come up and share your story of Ed to help us get to know him better, for those of us who did not know him that well, that would be most welcome. Come on up when you're ready.
Hi. I got a story about Grandpa. So Grandpa took a part of a lot of my sports. Grandpa was there for a lot of my soccer games, a lot of my baseball games, and he taught me how to snowboard. The story I want to share is about snowboarding. Grandpa took me snowboarding to Whitetail. What I thought was the coolest thing was he had this little green pass that allowed us to skip all the lines. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And I remember one specific time, I don't remember what hill it was, but I had fallen a lot that day, and I was sitting on the top of the hill just crying my eyes out. I didn't want to go anymore. I had to be a real pain in his neck. I didn't want to go anymore. He gave me some kind of motivational talk, and I ended up finishing the bottom of the hill. I ran over, gave my mom a hug, and I ran over, gave my mom a hug. That was one of my favorite times snowboarding ever. Yeah, that's my story.
Good morning. My name is Charlotte Pratt. I'm a member of Pathways Baptist Church. I wrote a few things for Betty, and so I want to read it. Ed and Betty were members of our Faith and Fellowship Sunday School class, led by Dr. Clayton Teague. here at Pathways Baptist Church. I occasionally served for Clayton, and we had the privilege of having Ed and Betty in our Sunday school class, and their deep faith in and love of God were evident. We were also blessed to hear their stories, including driving long distances to watch the sun rise or sunset. More importantly, we watched the deep love that Betty had for Eddie. Betty was caring, or is caring, has a caring nature, and she was exceptional, and she adored Ed very much and doted on him. During the time that Ed became ill, Betty will wheel him in his walker to church, and often wanted to do it all by herself without any help. Ed loved our Sunday school class and loved to listen to the discussions. You see, we had a hybrid class. Some people are not in Maryland, and during COVID, it served us a good purpose and continues to do so. We have mature Christians, including a former chaplain, who shared with us their love for Christ and often helped explain the details of the Bible. Personally, Betty became my friend. We both loved gardening, and for the first time, I had Swiss chard that Betty had planted in her garden, and she brought some beets and spinach and Swiss chard, and I've never tasted Swiss chard before, and so she was the one who really taught me how to cook it. She said, you can just stir fry it, just like spinach, and it was really fantastic. I thank God for making it possible for us to meet Ed and Betty, for the interactions we had with them, and to observe their faith, their deep faith and love for God and for each other. Ed has transitioned to be with the Lord in eternity, and we have the assurance that because we are Christians and we believe while leaving his disciples, Christ said, I go to prepare a place for you, and where I am, there you also will be. Betty, you are our friend. Our Sunday school class members are your friend. We hold you deeply in our hearts through prayers and stand by you during this time of separation. Ed is going to be with the Lord, but never forgotten. His Sunday school class holds him deeply in our hearts. May he rest in perfect peace. Thank you.
Hi, my name's John Walker. Ed and I were cousins. His mother and my dad were brother and sister. That's how we're related. I'm the last of 5 children, and there's kind of a gap between me and the next one up. So my older brothers and sisters probably grew up more age-wise with Ed than I did. But I went in the Navy, and I met my wife in that process, and I needed a best man for my wedding. And Ed agreed to it, which we started. He was like an older brother to me, and he was in this area. Most of my brothers and sisters had spread out across the country, and so Ed was like a big brother, and Betty was always warm. Both of them were really warm to us. We moved up my wife and I moved up to Connecticut, had both our children up there, and then came back to the DC area. And we used to meet, Thanksgiving and other times. We had family times together. But yeah, Ed and Betty, they were always loving. I guess as we had kids and then grandkids and our extended family started kind of moving away. We didn't meet as much, but I sure remember Ed as an outdoors guy, a loving guy, and I'll surely miss him. And I know that my brothers and sisters, they're still alive. They said they were going to watch this from home. They're in Texas and Colorado. But anyway, I'll miss you.
One or two more?
I will never have the words to say exactly how much I love my grandparents. So I guess I'm just gonna have to live my entire life with everything that they taught me and all of the love that they gave me. And I'm going to be very, very grateful for every second with those memories and those lessons. I didn't have a speech prepared. In fact, I thought of public speaking and was completely mortified. But this one's too important to miss. What I can say is that I will always look at the stars and remember every second I got to have with y'all, looking at the stars next to me. I'm always going to keep hiking and camping and finding more people to be curious about. And I'm always going to try and be honest. So thank you. You mean everything to me and more.
On that theme of the already but not yet, on that theme of having two different citizenships, if you will. There's a verse in 2 Corinthians. And hearing of all the stories of Ed building things, I think maybe this will fit you, Ed. Now we know that if the earthly tent we live in is destroyed, we have a building from God, an eternal house in heaven, not built by human hands. But meanwhile, we groan, longing to be clothed with our heavenly dwelling. For most of the world, death is a permanent woundedness, almost a penalty. But for those who follow Jesus, it is the doorway to ultimate healing, the fulfillment of the continued blessings that a life with Christ gives you. And clearly, Ed was living that life. The blessings Christ speaks of is not material wealth, it is not business success or titles or social media acclaim, but the love, the relationships, a family and friends that is completely giving, that is completely without condition. If you are walking out there alone, if you are walking out there without a faith community, if you are in search of Jesus, of Christ, then we urge you to find your nearest church, your nearest Christian church, your nearest pastor, and to explore what it is that Jesus offers. Jesus gets a bad rap today. Churches have a terrible reputation. But I think here you're proving the community of faith at its heart, in its smallest form, as family, as extended family. This is what Christ meant. This is church. This is the love of Christ together. If you'll pray with me one more time. It gives me great joy, Father, to think of you cheering and jumping and celebrating and clapping as your son Ed is out there surfing. As he's building whatever and calling you over as his father. Look at what I built. Look what I did. It's just like what I did with my students. And in the same role that Ed played for so many in the room, Father, you play for Ed. That you are our constant cheerleader, our constant supporter, our constant eager lover. And so we thank you for bringing Ed home, for healing him completely, for restoring all to his mind and soul. We thank you for the comfort that brings Betty and her family. We thank you for the surety of your promises in your word that for Betty and the others, this is not permanent. This is just a temporary pause in their relationship. Father, we thank you for being the God of relationships. You could have built human society in any way that you wanted to, but you built it around the family. You echo it, you source it in the Trinity nature of you being Father, Son, and Spirit. And so, in our family, God, we ask that you would bring comfort to Betty and the family. The rest of these days are going to be hard. This week, the holidays, next month. And so, as we've said, we thank you for the memories. We thank you for the pictures and the stories and the videos. Thank you for giving Ed to us for this time, to influence us, to share his love, to share your love. We ask for help to continue that with those whom we love. And all the people of God said, Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we'll be going to Rose Hill Cemetery in Hagerstown, Maryland, which is about a 54-mile drive. If you are going to be joining us at the cemetery, we will not be going in procession. We will just meet at the cemetery. We're just going to be traveling on 270 north up to 70 west, and then exiting on to 65 north into Hagerstown, which becomes South Potomac Street. The cemetery is right on South Potomac. It'll be on the right-hand side as you approach Hagerstown. There will be a cemetery representative at the entrance directing everyone to the grave site. So again, we will not be going in procession. You're welcome to try to follow behind us, but again, it will not be a formal procession. If we have pallbearers today, you're welcome to come forward and escort us out to the hearse, and then at the cemetery, I'll give you instructions from there. Thank you.
We'll ask the guests to stay seated to view the slideshow, and the family will follow Ed first. And then family, if you'll get into your cars, we need to go. The rest of the family, if you'll follow. On behalf of the Dennis family and friends, thank you for coming. Our service is concluded.
Thank you.